of Yeshua HaMashiach, who is holy, who is righteous, and who is our King. You alone are worthy. You alone are worthy. You alone are worthy. And we bless you forevermore. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we say, Amen. All right, everybody. I'm reading what you're saying. Can you hear me now? Yes, 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 yes. I'm so sorry. I was praying and got caught up in that time. You know how you talk to the Father, and all of a sudden everything just sort of kind of makes sense, and His words just begin to exude from your mind and your heart. So glad to see each and every one of you with us. Y'all know we're going to get right into the Word. I'm hoping that someone can tap in Dr. April Holland. Someone can tap in Pastor Lamont Holland for me. If you're out there, I want to make sure we can get some things accomplished. I'm going to make a technical switch here. I want to see how this works. So I want you guys to bear with me. Now, can you hear me on Clubhouse? No, on Facebook, YouTube.
No, sir.
YouTube and Facebook cannot hear me?
Yes, can hear you on Facebook now.
Now on Facebook.
Yes.
Now you hear me. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted to know. And I'm going to do it one more time. All right. Can you hear me now on Facebook and YouTube?
Hear me now. Yes. On Facebook. Yes, sir.
That's the second request. Y'all can see me now? All right, good. So let's just get started and do what we need to do here and talk about the word of Elohim. So, oh man, I am so excited to be with y'all and to share with you today some of the stuff that we've been going through. I need to contact Dr. April. Okay, still no sound.
No, we have sound.
All right, somebody get Dr. Stewart. We got some terrible technology. Dr. Stewart, we're gonna need you to upgrade. Nicole, you gotta upgrade. Can you please come to Apple so God can bless you? Because an apple a day will keep that Samsung doctor away that don't want you to hear nothing. All right, Dr. Stewart, can you get on? Can you come on our page? All right, let's get into the word. So I want to share this with y'all because it was important. We were talking about it a little while ago, but I do need to see if Dr. April Holland and Pastor Lamont Holland are on today because they brought something very interesting to us. We started on last Shabbat, and I never got around to finishing it because it took quite a bit out of us. And I think we had an emergency last week. We had some issues here where my I had a glass table I would use and it broke on us while we were finishing up our broad or getting into that part of our study, and so I had to actually the glass table just exploded on us, literally just exploded on us, and so had to go ahead and get um, we had to go ahead and get handled. So I had some minor scratches and bruises, major cleanup in the house um, to get over it because it was a double layer glass table. Very nice though, really cool. Y'all know me, I'm bougie, so it was a really nice glass table, but it was glass. Never again will I buy glass. As much as I love glass and clean and leak and sleek, I can't do it. But let's get into the word, and we're going to try and finish up where we were with that. And we were talking about the heifer. Um, and what it meant. Many people were talking from that respect of what the heifer was and how the heifer looked, and were we ever going to see a red heifer and what it was and had it come. And I wanted to share with you something from a very dynamic study about the red heifer. Um, so I'm going to try and pull this up for you guys as we had started on it. And I probably need to use my phone, so y'all bear with me for a second. Facebook, if you can give me some types, make sure you let me know that I can hear you, you can hear me or not, because I don't want to lose you guys again. Please, 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 pretty please. All right. Let me search this up for y'all real quick. Have you guys been enjoying your Sabbath?
Yes, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I want to do something because I found some articles that you guys would probably thoroughly enjoy and love. But I'm also realizing that everybody doesn't know how to embrace all types of studies biblically. So the point is, when we deal with biblical concepts, you have to realize that how many of you know that there are three major monotheisms from under the man we call Father Abraham. So I want you to talk to me. Don't leave me in the dark. Keep talking to me.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Someone tell me, what are the three major monotheisms, religious orders under the name of Father Abraham? Does anybody know? See Marie, go. Go see Marie. Come on, come on, come on today, dear.
Christianity.
Okay, repeat that.
Islam, Judaism, and Christianity.
So the three major monotheisms under the name and associated with the personage and the person of historical fact named Avram are a faith system now called Islam, Muslim, coming from a son called Ishmael, who is also in your Bible, born in your Torah, and given parcels of land in your Torah and told to go about his way. As well, then there are others who now we find fall into that same camp, a son after Ishmael, born as the promise, called Itzhak. You know him as Isaac. English translation of Itzhak is Isaac. So Isaac is born, and Avram remembers the word and the will of the Father, and then leaves everything that he has to Itzhak, which is supposed to have been done. And so when we come to this realization, you now have Ishmael, who's given us Islam, the Muslims. You have Itzhak, who has given us what you call Israel, and Edom. So Edom goes a whoring after other gods. Israel becomes, in part, what you know today, but they're also responsible for who Elohim gave the Torah to bring all of humanity back to him. Since Adam sold us all, humans, into sin by one, disobeying a commandment from Elohim, and two, eating the tree which had fruit. But the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil caused you and I to be sold into sin. So if you don't understand that basic premise for why the monotheisms out of Abraham are significant, then you are going to typically and traditionally have a problem. Now, what I have to do for technical reasons, I think that we may be having some other difficult issues here, is I'm going to have to disconnect one of my attempted cameras so we can have fun today, because I've had to rearrange things in the house due to our calamities on last week. And until I can get replacement, you're going to have to just have view of a different view. So I'm going to move this technology out of the way. I hoped it would work, but it gave you guys no sound on one end, and now it's flickering on another end, and I don't want to be left open for any type of hackers in our system. So Avram gives us Ishmael. Does anybody know who was born first?
Veronica.
Veronica, go.
Ishmael.
Does anybody know why Ishmael was born first? I want to get into that before we start talking about the red heifer, and I want to make sure I give a chance for my dear Hollands to show up if they can. Hollands didn't do anything wrong. They just raised a question I think everybody should be a part of. Does anybody know why it is important to understand Ishmael, why Ishmael was born first? Anyone?
Marie.
All right, see Marie, go. Why was Ishmael born first? I want the rest of you to think about this, because you've been in Shabbat all day, so you should have been in Torah, whether I've been online or not. So what now, talk to me, is why Ishmael was born first. I want to hear from at least two people before I bring this on, while I also research something for you guys. So why was Ishmael born first?
Abraham was given a promise that he would have a child. After 10 years, Sarai said, I'm too old to have a child. Go into Hagar, my handmaiden, and have a child by her, and that child will be mine, which hence came Ishmael.
Okay, so what she said was Ishmael was born because Yahweh gave a promise to Abraham that he would have a son. And when he gave him that promise, many years later, Sarai heard that promise again, and Elohim told him that. She laughed, but then, though laughing, sort of kind of received it, but knowing her age, she believed she knew better than her creator. And then she went to Abraham as a womb man, a female entity does. And she gave Avram a resource. She gave Avram a submitted plan. Now stay close, because I'm going to take you on a quick journey before I bring you back to the red heifer. Okay? So she gives Abraham a plan. She submits an idea for the success of Elohim's will to happen in Avram's life. I'm going to repeat. Avram's given a promise, you're going to have a son. He's married to Sarai. Sarai, Here's the promise years later, a conversation between Elohim and her, and then suddenly Sariah busts up laughing. So when Abraham and Elohim are having a conversation through these messengers who'd come down in a Christophany, Sariah eavesdropping, hears it, and busts up laughing. Now, while she busts up laughing, she's also realizing Abraham is really convicted about this and he really believes this. And so, in her thought process, this is my husband, never steered me wrong, has me out here in this wilderness based on the God of his salvation. We are prospering, we're not broke, we're not struggling. He is who I follow. He is my husband. I do run a big stick. I run a tight house. And my husband believes these words we've heard as prophecy to him. And so Sariah then, hearing the belief of her husband, submits herself, submits her abilities to come up with a plan to bring that vision to fruition. So Sariah then submits to her husband. But what does she submit? Does she submit herself, or does she submit what she is as a resource to her husband's conviction of a vision that's a promise from Elohim? She actually submits herself. She submits what she is to bringing that vision to fruition. And even though she in her mind never thought it could happen in her pulchritude, her ovaries in her mind are too old. Her eggs, she don't even know if they're still alive. They've been boiled. She don't know. She's just realizing I'm past the years of childbearing. So she comes up with an idea, and then she submits her idea, which is what she does naturally, to her husband for vision fulfillment. This is the epitome of a help meet. Can we stay there for a second and talk about that? Did any of you realize?
Yes.
Had any of you realized at this point that this is what a help meet look like? Does anybody want to talk about the reality of Sariah submitting herself? Does that submitting herself to her own husband sound like the way we're propagating wives, submit yourselves to your husbands? Even though and I want you to say your name and come off. I want to give you all the space to time and speak. I want to give you that space and time to speak. But how many of you will look at that and literally see now or say now, hey, that hits different than the way we've been propagating husbands, love your wives, wives, submit to your husbands. And then we also use Avram and Sariah. We're still talking about a red heifer. We're still talking about a red heifer. But the way we're propagating wives, submit to your husbands, husbands, love your wives, it sort of kind of hits different when you understand where it comes from. So when Sariah submits her resources, her ability to plan out and make a recipe for a vision my husband is convicted of, even if I am not going to be the main ingredient, I'm going to find a way by any means necessary to see the vision my husband is convicted of by a word I know he got from the Father. I'm going to submit all my resource of discernment and all of my resource of bringing things together. Give a woman a lemon that's old, she won't give you lemon meringue, she'll give you lemonade. You give a woman some old tattered clothing, she might not make another shirt, she may make a quilt. You give a woman the seed of a man, she's going to bring you a son or a daughter. The woman's resources is to take a vision, i.e., a seed, add her resource to it, incubate it, and then produce that vision because it was planted in conviction. So before we move too fast in understanding the ideology of the red heifer and what goes on with that, you got to understand where we are with these monotheisms and how we got to where we are. So Sariah hears a vision Abraham is convicted of. She hears the messenger of Elohim converse with Abraham. She's eardropping. She's in earshot of the conversation, so much so that it's recorded in the Torah that she busts up laughing. And then the Christophany asks, why are you laughing? So we know that she is there while Abraham is speaking with his spiritual guide, who is leaving this prophecy with him, who is responsible for every little step Abraham's been taking since he left Chaldea. See, it hits different when you understand the history of submitting yourself. So what Sariah does, seeing the conviction of her husband, who she trusts, who she's been following through these wilderness, building, making tents, tearing tents down, finding ways to get water, finding ways to dig wells, has a big house and staff of people, Eleazar, his sons, his wives, all the people that are helping them walk where Elohim is sending them, refereeing between Abraham and Lot, having arguments along the way because they're masses and they're shepherds and their businesses that they are living together in. They're living together in their businesses. Y'all know that. So Lot's business, Abraham's business, they're all massing in the same area of land and they're doing the same type of thing. And now suddenly Sariah is seeing her husband's conviction give him vision. My husband believes this. And I know he's gotten this not from some whimsical idea, but I know he's been speaking with people he deemed his spiritual guide and lead. And for some reason, I believe it too, because I heard it. I don't know where these three people came from that he had me prepare this food and take wine out to them, but I believe it too. I just don't know how my body gonna do it. So Sariah's mind does what every female will do organically, naturally, instinctively. She creates a recipe for this meal, this conviction. And I'm gonna give it to my man and we're gonna make it work. Because not only do I believe in him, I believe what was said. I don't know why, but I do. And if we believe this, let me start researching how to get it done. And then I can tell him how to make it come to pass. So now you understand how Ishmael got here. I'm gonna pause for a second. Let's have a quick conversation about that from the Torah. Does anybody see submitting yourselves to your own husband differently now than the way we've been propagating it in New Testament Christendom? And let me help. Let me help with this one part. Moderators, make sure I hear names, you get the names. Let me help with this next one part. And this is also where Christendom has this issue because they got women, say, I ain't calling no man Lord. Well, Sariah called her husband Lord, right? And then you got one group of people in Christendom that say, I ain't calling my husband Lord. Ain't no man lording over me. And then we got another group, saying, well, he is her Lord and he thinking that he's supposed to be running the house and beating his chest and all of that. And we got all of that wrong. The reason she called him Lord, i.e., master, was because she submitted to him in marriage. Didn't mean she was weaker than him, didn't mean she was less resourceful than him. He chose her to build life with. She wants to build life with him, and she can build by herself. But she submitted to this union. Me getting vision from Elohim, me staying spiritually connected to the Creator, then sharing the reveal with you, my partner, will trigger your mind the way Elohim designed woman and femininity. They will come up with a recipe to produce what I don't know how to do, but I see it. And so what she did was she submitted the recipe to this plan to her husband. Now, the thing was, when she heard the prophecy, Abraham, you and your wife will bring forth a son. It won't be Eleazar's boy. It'll be yours from your own loins. Sariah sees his conviction. She laughs initially because she's like, bruh, I'm too old. There's just no way that's going to happen. And so when she realized that Abraham is not moved by her disbelief or her jokingness, she's like, he really believes this. Let me sit down and think. Sariah sits herself down. I don't know how many days it was, but she comes back to him and she submits her well thought out plan based on her knowledge of her real life situation. And technically, it's an option, a viable option. This handmaid I have is my slave. They deem them as their property. No different than what you had going on in modern day slavery. And she said, well, as is our custom, if I give my handmaid, my mistress, to my husband, then technically I'm married to him, she would be married to him, and we all would bring this vision to pass. That's it. Abraham, babe, come here. Hey, what's up? What's going on, girl? Listen, you know Hagar, she's my father. She's been in the family. They're indentured servants to us, and you know how this goes. I can give her you. You lay with her. She's owned by me. I could also bear down in the childbearing portion and make sure she's well taken care of in her prenatal care. And when the time comes, she has her baby, she doesn't sit on the stool by herself. She can sit on me while I sit on the stool, and I can experience the pain and the agony of the child. I'll be with the child from the time it's conceived. I'm giving you permission to lay with her. You're giving her the seed you would give to me. She would get pregnant. When the child comes, we're keeping the child kept healthy all the way along. I'm rubbing the baby, talking to the baby, talking to her, keeping her, you're keeping. So we'll have it. The baby will be ours. And guess what? This could work. So she submits what is innately within her. And that which is innately within her is the ability for any woman who receives a word from a man with vision. She will bring that thing to fruition. Only problem is she will need man's participation. Once he releases the vision, remember when it said by the prophet, write the vision on the wall so that they that see it and hear it can run therewith. That's what that means. So when man is in tune with Elohim, if your husband is one who is a praying man and prays with you in every matter, in every situation, brothers, if you are a man who is going to have his wife follow him, you need to first lead her into your relationship with the Father. And she will know you with the Father. You ain't just out here by yourself doing all this willy-nilly wilding out stuff. And she's like, yeah, like Sariah, I heard the prophecy from the messenger of Elohim. talking to my husband. And I see how my husband was affected by those words. I'm going to find a way to bring this to pass for him because he's my husband. And I want my husband to be satisfied. And my husband and I are to fulfill building life. And he's firmly convicted of this. Babe, let me think. I'll get back to you. Soraya thinks. She says, dear husband, my Lord, your vision, I think I know how to bring it to pass. I'm messing up every construct you understood about Christian marriage and following your man. And I hope it shatters the very foundation and helps you to rebuild rightly of what it means to submit to your husband, not your body as some game or toy, but the resource and the innate ability of the femininity to take anything, concoct a recipe, and then help the person whose vision this is going to bring to fruition know how to move the pieces. And that's why the man submits to the woman vision. The woman, based on that receptivity, now submits the recipe for the vision. And then they come back to the table and the woman submits to the man. The man says, hey, that option could work. And then he goes out to start doing it, but says, babe, watch me while I'm doing it. Let me know where I need to lift the rock. Let me know where I need to push the tree. Let me know where I need to mark out the boundaries. And she sits and watches over the actual recipe, over actual the drawings that she helped to draw up and he approved. And then she says, honey, use your muscles over there. Babe, erect the perpendicular joint to the left. 5 more feet to the left. Okay, a foot forward. Okay, now bang it down harder. Right there. Yeah, that's what we drew up. I'm gonna give a couple seconds for somebody to talk to me. Does that hit different when we talk about wives submit to your own husbands? Moderators, who's next on cue?
I didn't grab the name, sir. My apologies.
No problem. It's not just you, there's several moderators. I need more than just you doing it. Who was it that spoke your name? Come on. If you're trying to give an answer, come on. You said something. Talk now.
Rogers.
All right, come on. What you got? Rogers, go.
This perspective is very, very. I never thought about it this way. I always thought about it that it was impatient. I always thought about it in the fact that she laughed and she was called out on it. But in reading the writ, Abraham laughed as well. But this is a very, very interesting way. And according to being, submissive and so forth and so on, I am totally in agreement with what you're saying, because being a woman and being prone to helping to push and to not only to push but to achieve the vision and dreams is having me to look at it, at a different way now. Thank you very much, and I yield.
Okay, great. Anyone else? No one else?
Regina.
All right, Regina, go.
So after hearing your breakdown, I actually 100% agree that this is the way that a husband and wife work together in unison. And that's has always been my understanding of what true submission means.
Mm-hmm.
As regards to submission is surrendering and supporting division that's supposed to help the home, to build the family, to build what we're doing together. And I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to flesh out what Sarai was really doing in that situation.
Tell me, Regina, what do you think Sarai was really doing? And I don't want to just talk about this as if we're, you know, just saying, oh, today's marriage is never going to be right, you know, and I like this right here. This sounds really good. Tell me what you now understand Soraya to have been doing. And I'm hoping that it stirs up some other men to converse about this as well, and women, because you need to understand that when they were telling us to submit one to another, there was a real issue behind what submittance meant.
What I think Sarai was doing is that she was doing her part. She was helping her husband's vision come to life.
So she was helping her husband's vision come to life. Does that explain? Let me ask y'all a question as Regina puts this. Don't lose your thought, Regina. Let me ask y'all a question, and I want as many people to grasp this as possible. I really do, and I want y'all to help me with this. But do you understand now why when men talk into a woman's ear, and if she's desiring to believe in him, she will bring her resources to bear for him until she realized he ain't really about his commitment. He ain't really convicted about it. It was just game to get whatever he wanted, whatever shallow or in depth. And however it does or does not work out, she realizes he's not as serious about this as I am, or vice versa. She says she's going to help with the resourcing of it, and then she has her way of how it should be repaid to her, which makes that go goofy weird the other way, and how the man might not be committed to what he is talking. He just talking. He got vision. He see it, but he ain't really about what he's dreaming. He knows every woman wants to hear a dream, wants to hear a issue to build on, and he may not even really be 100% committed to it. And then when she starts getting down into it, she's 10 toes down. She's recipe deep. She got egg on her face. She got powder in her hair from flour flinging everywhere. She in the kitchen trying to make this thing work. Funny, Regina, we talking with you, right? She's got flour. She got flour flying everywhere in the kitchen, and then he come in talking about, what is you doing? What you mean, what am I doing? You said we wanted, and I got this, and so you wasn't really serious? Oh, yeah, but I mean, and that's when women lose their confidence in a man, because you find out you talked good to me in a moment, but it was just a moment. It wasn't for life. So you got me to get all my energy behind this, and you never really believed in it. It was just a very good idea, and you passionately expressed it to me. Brothers, this is where your submittance comes in. You have to submit the real plan. You can't just be talking sweet nothings in a female's ear. It ain't about being a sister. It ain't about being an Asian. It ain't about being a Caucasian. It ain't about being a Mongoloid or a Negroid. It's about a femininity. That is what femininity does in comparison to masculinity. Masculinity hears vision, concocts the idea, the plan comes. We don't know how to bring it all together, but we know ultimately what it should look like. That femininity fills in the core. So you have to submit the shell. She'll fill in the core. Get it? A woman makes a house a home. All right, that wasn't deep enough for nobody. Regina, what was you saying? Because I don't think they like that part.
So what I'm saying, what I'm also saying is she also trusted him because he's taken her through some things and he's been successful. So anything that he wants, she has his back.
So you mean Abraham,
Yes.
when his father got a word from Elohim, his father's, anybody know Abraham's father's name? We're talking about how Ishmael got here. We're not off the subject. But does anybody know Abraham's father's name? Danielle, go.
Was it Terah?
Terah. Very good, Danielle. So Abraham's father's name was Terah. Now, for the average, and I must say, unread Christian, you think that God told Abraham to leave his father's land. And it wasn't Elohim telling Abraham to leave his father's land, because Abraham's father's name was Terah. If you read the Torah, Elohim told Terah to get out of Ur. Abraham was Terah's son. Lot's dad. Oh, what's Lot's dad? Haran was his brother. And his brother had a son named Lot. So Terah was told by Elohim, get out of the land of your forefathers. But because Terah and Abraham were so close, you and I get the story that Elohim told Abraham to leave his land of his forefathers. Now, granted, Abraham did not have to leave because Abraham was full grown. Abraham was over 50 years old, closer to 75, quite frankly. So Terah, his dad, really doesn't tell him what to do. But because Elohim spoke to Terah, and Terah, Abraham's father, was so convicted, Abraham got on board with his dad's plan, and they, following Elohim, left the land of Ur. Some of you have never heard that before, have you? Tell the truth.
Yeah. No, not like that.
You never heard it that way. Don't tell me you did. Because I go through all this world teaching people this, and they're like, I didn't know that. I go to Bible colleges, and they're like, I didn't think about that. Just read the writ. Elohim told Terah, leave Chaldea. Abraham was with Terah, his daddy, and they got Lot and left. Sarai is Abraham's wife. So when Terah, Regina, don't go nowhere. So when Terah is told by Elohim, leave, Sarai is married to Abraham, and Regina, what you said was, he has led her through a lot of things. Abraham is a wealthy man in Chaldea. This wealthy man picks up his father's conviction and leaves Ur because Elohim tells Terah to leave Ur. Terah tells his son and his son's son, Lot, hey, Elohim is telling me to leave. I'm going to go. Whether it was like, well, Pop, you know, you a little old and rigid right now. I mean, I'm going to come with you. You know, I'm going to come with. However it turned out, Abraham leaves because of the instruction. And he leaves, watch this, he leaves Ur wealthy with a whole house full of servants. He's got a company he's leaving Ur with. People don't understand. Abraham left Ur as a massive company. So Sarai has been riding with him, building that company since they've married. So she has led him, he has led her quite well thus far. She has also, Abraham has also successfully led Sarai out of Ur. And she's following him. And by the time they get the vision, he's led her through certain areas. He's led her through Abimelech. He's led her and gave her instructions. Here's what we got to do to get there. Once we get there, I need you to do what you do. But She has complete confidence in his ability in the middle of a crisis to protect, provide, and nurture her. So her hand is in his. And she knows that when he gets to a certain state of conviction, he looks a certain way. She's like, all right, yo, everybody buckle down. We got to lock in on this with Abraham. Abraham, what was he saying? Yeah. I think we're going to do this. Okay, fine. Give me a couple of days. Let me think about it. And that's basically really what happened. It's a little bit different than this faux leadership, this FAUX leadership that we talk about in marriage today within Christendom. Whereas just because I'm the man, you're going to follow me. Just because I'm the man, you're going to get in the kitchen and be barefoot and make babies. No, that that was not submittance. And I really want to get this. Can I say something that's going to sort of kind of shake the world? Can I shake the world of Christendom with y'all for a minute? I need permission to shake the world.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When you talk about the man saying, you know, she's going to be barefoot in the kitchen and in the bedroom, there is this uncouth narrative that the woman's body is perceived more precious to her than a man of integrity deems his body is precious to him. And therefore, she is giving away her preciousness and he is just a dog biting on any bone and just putting himself in any situations. Y'all really need to stop that narrative, because men are just as precise and precious about their body as women are, men of integrity, women of integrity. Because as much as y'all talk about a man will take a bone and bite a bone anywhere, a woman will carry a bone anywhere too, if they don't have integrity. But because the narrative has been developed about this, around this stereotype, it is that women get tricked out of this. No. And you women should be insulted that people try to dumb you down like that, because that's not the real case. And some of the people take that and just jump on that bandwagon and run with it because they know they ain't got no daggone integrity. So stop thinking that men is out here wilding out with their bodies and women are not. I shook the world. Come for me later.
Thanks.
So the element of submitting yourselves doesn't mean that the woman submits her body. She submits what Elohim made her to be to the human masculinity that Elohim said should work together as a team. Remember in Genesis, Bereshit, chapter number 2, verses 15 through 16. Elohim took the human, male and female, put it to sleep, pulled the womb out, gave her her own pulchritude, woke the man up, and he was now looking at the feminine version of himself in front of him and said, "You're bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. You shall be called womb man." And Elohim says, "For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother," so they can build, "and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh," the way they were when I made the first human. Work together like that. So the human back then, man being the head, not the leader. He was just the head. That's why men got big old heads. He was the head. He was an antenna for the word of Elohim coming in to the body, so that the body could get an instruction, run through the brain, shoot down the actual spinal cord and the neurology, quicken the womb, so the womb would know how to handle the movements of the appendages that were a part of the human pulchritude called humanity. And then the instructions received, given to the core, would work cohesively as a unit, and they would get from one point to the next in concert. But once Elohim took the womb out of the man, put the man to sleep, gave the woman her pulchritude, gave the man, woke him up in his pulchritude. They were to now, though separate, still work as one when they were made. So the man has to submit the instructions he receives from on high, play conduit to that instruction, convey it, confer it to her, so she knows how to fill in the shell and make the vision full. Submit yourselves one to the other. Husband, submit the vision of Elohim you get from Elohim while in prayer with your wife, who Elohim gave you, to help you stay focused on Elohim's plan for you. You know, it's funny because in 1 Peter chapter 3, can y'all go there? 1 Peter chapter 3, I'll pull it up on the screen so y'all can look at it. Are y'all okay with this? Is this boring, y'all?
Oh, this is good, sir.
Good.
This is good. Good.
Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 3. Everybody go to 1 Peter chapter 3. I know this is not Torah, but it's directly connected to Torah instruction. Watch. 1 Peter chapter number 3, verse 1. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection unto your own husband. Notice, woman, whenever she hears a vision, she will give resource to every vision she sees. And in most cases, because most men don't have vision at home. Brothers, I'm not talking about y'all. I'm helping us. Please, I'm helping us. We just didn't know this, which is why we wondering why our wives don't give us respect. We're wondering why the women look at us weird and like I can do bad all by myself. It's very true. But I want to make sure you understand what the intention of Torah meant. So watch. Look at this chapter. Look at this chapter. Because this is why women say, I ain't talking to another man. Every time I get with a man, he and he don't want to do this. And then that's why some women get turned out and stay with another woman rather than another man for a partner for life. Yeah. Yeah, because another woman knows just how much another woman could put into a man's vision, but then to find out the man wasn't really serious about the vision, and you got all this energy in here. You mean to tell me I'm spent, I'm all out, and you telling me now you wasn't really down with this? So another woman who might be dealing with that don't ever want to deal with a man like that again, and now she becomes masculine in her mindset. Next thing you know, she finds another woman who went through what she went through. They talk and chat, and next thing you know, they're in an alternative relationship. And they won't let each other down. Because once they start something, they're going to finish it and see it through. Knowing it's not organic, but they're going to make it their situation. They're going to make it their reality. Same for men. So those narratives go both ways. So you want to talk about why we have this confusion? Some call it, you have this alternative lifestyle. Others call it, I refuse to worry about pronouns. I refuse. Whatever your mama call you, I'm gonna call you. Till you change your name, that's what you're called. Deal with it. Do y'all understand that? And I'm not picking a bone with nobody. I'm just telling y'all how we got here. And we never paid attention to why we got here. So in 1 Peter chapter 3, I want you to understand this, that the unity of the masculinity and the femininity has to work a certain way. You can only fake being masculine if you're feminine so long. And you can only fake being feminine if you're masculine by nature so long. Trust me, they both crumble. But some people will die trying to make that alternative reality seem a permanency. And see, I know this because I'm on a lot of dying beds. I'm where a lot of people are giving their last words on their deathbed. And what they confess in my ear before they pass away, they never confess to their partner. And some even slip into heaven on that deathbed because they will confess, I did it wrong. And I'm just telling y'all what I know, not what I heard. So my thing is not to judge anybody in the way they decide to live, whether you are heterosexual, whether you are same sex. That ain't my job. The word judges you. But as long as we are talking about the word that created the world, we need to know why the world is contrary to the way the word made it. Here is why. Because when masculinity does not know how to be consistent and convicted with femininity, and femininity does not know how to be consistent and convicted with masculinity. Nobody playing games. If they're playing games, it never works. Both get hurt. Then they both start making things work their way. But Elohim's demand, Elohim's command in the Torah was, for this cause shall man leave his father and mother and cleave to his femininity. That's what it's supposed to be. And we've not left for those reasons. We never left our mom's home and our dad's home to build a life. We left our mom's homes and our dad's home in modern day Christendom to get married. American style or whatever culture style, just to have babies, and not realizing that there was an actual way that humanity, both femininity and masculinity, were supposed to come together under Elohim's design. It was to build his kingdom, not to have a cute family. The cute family was a byproduct of the intention of marriage to build. Conviction, conveyed, resources would make it whole. Equality, humanity, unity. Torah teaches this explicitly. But religiosity always causes something to be convoluted. So look at what happens here. Go to 1 Peter chapter 3. Likewise, wives, be in subjection to your own husbands. The word subjection here is a Greek word, G5293, hupotasos, which means to be reflectively obedient, meaning subordinate, right? Meaning to be subdued under, in subjection to, submitting self unto, but not the way we mean it in English. In English, it's always you less than. No, because what Elohim did in Genesis, before we go, look at what Elohim did in Genesis before we got English language. Look what he did in Genesis. In Genesis chapter 3, verse number 15, look at what he says. I'm going to put enmity between the serpent. Let me show you on the Bible. Put the Bible on the screen so y'all can see it before y'all think I've lost my mind. Look at what he says. This is the Hebrew. He says, Elohim will put enmity between the woman and the serpent, between her seed and the serpent's woman's seed and the serpent's seed. It will bruise your head and you shall bruise its heel. Then he says to the woman, to the womb man, I'm going to greatly multiply your sorrow and conception. In sorrow shall you bring forth children, and your desire, I'm telling you now, you were equal when you decided to eat that fruit. I'm telling you now, I want you to think the way I made you. Your desire, I need you to stay focused that your desire shall be to your husband. And because of how I initially made humanity, I want him to be in the rule, meaning he needs to be the one hearing from me with you attached to him and with you reminding him to come see me. Watch. He says, and your desire shall be to your husband, and your husband shall rule over you. Look at this verse. For desire means, in the original sense, I want you to stretch out for him. I want you to long for him. Don't have the baby and then want the baby more than you want your husband, because the reason you have the baby is because you're duplicating your husband. Nothing? Nobody? Okay. So the reason you're having your baby is to duplicate your husband. Nothing? Nobody? Okay. I'm going to say it again. Your desire from Elohim as a feminine entity in your own pulchritude is to, once you have the child, is to desire, long out, seek out, stretch out for your husband, because the baby is a duplication of your husband.
That's right.
Don't take the baby and now say, I got all the love I need. Your husband is who you long for. You and your husband raise the duplication of you. Now, ladies, I'm not coming for you. I know it was very heavy on the men earlier, but I want y'all to understand this is where we went left because of the way we've been taught. Submittance one to another, submitting yourself unto your husband, submitting yourselves, husbands, unto your wives is a real thing. Here it is right here. Watch. He tells him, I don't want you to leave yet don't promise me you don't leave until I read 1 Peter 3. Don't leave the broadcast until we read 1 Peter 3, man or woman. Don't leave before you think I'm being one-sided. I want you to see it for what you didn't know. Look, so in verse number 16 of Genesis chapter 3, look at what he tells the woman. Woman, because of this, you're going to bring forth children in sorrow. Your desire, as far as I'm concerned, will be for you to desire your wife, your husband, meaning you're going to have an original sense of stretching out after your husband, longing for your husband, desiring your husband, because your husband is why you have a child. You and your husband with this child are fulfilling my building of my kingdom in the earth. Watch. So when we now know that Elohim wants man and woman to work together, that's why you see Genesis chapter 2, verse number 23. He said, Adam said, now this is bone of my bone. Look at the verse. Flesh of my flesh. She shall be called womb man. What is womb man? It is Isha, right? Meaning wife. And oftentimes it's improperly expressed in English. Look at the definition to the right of the screen. It means feminine. That's the first thing you need to understand about Isha. It means feminine. It means irregular plural noshim, a woman, right? It means female. It means, watch this, together. It means wife. Often this phrase is unexpressed in an English translation. So you and I have been working off of a half prepared definition for the woman and the feminine called Isha. Now, the feminine of 376 in the Hebrew is Ish, meaning from the unused root, a man as an individual or a male person, Ish, often used as an adjunct to more definite term, and in such causes frequently not expressed in translation. Frequently not expressed in translation. I'm going to say it again. Frequently not expressed in translation. It can also mean another. It can also mean any man, a certain man, a champion man, a man who consents, one who is a fellow, a footman, a husband, a good man, a great mighty man, a man of high degree, a husband of mankind. none or one, a people, a person, a steward, right? Worthy. You can compare that to 802, which is very important to catch, which is the word Isha, which is where we are when we talk about woman. That is what you compare to 802. Now, if you go to 352, 582, you have Enoshi, right? Which comes from the 605 narrative. And 605 is the word Anosh. Anosh means to be frail, to be feeble, melancholy, desperate, incurable, sick, and woeful. This is where people started to say, "Oh, the woman was the reason she weak, she feeble, she all this." No, but the actual issue from Isha is 582, properly mortal, thus differing from a more dignified, hence a man in general, singly or collectively. Right? Now, y'all gonna love this one. Thirsty. Stop it. A certain chap man, different fellow, in the flower of their age. Right? This is what you're talking about when we talk about Noshi. And then that person is also servant of some, servant of them, could be stranger to those. Watch this. In their trade. It again. This is a key piece. Y'all never read this phrase as much as you read it today. It is often unexpressed in the English versions. Do y'all think that that is significant in translation?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
How many times have you read that expression? I know you read it with me sometimes every month or twice a month, but how many times have you seen it this many times with regards to one word and its tensing?
Never saw that.
It is often unexpressed in an English translation. So we've been translating the word Enoshi, Isha, not effectively in the English. And we think we know what it means, and we don't know what it means. How are you going to tell somebody how to be if you don't know what the word means? You make stuff up, don't you?
You do.
That's what happened.
So now let's get back to this word on woman. Now, again, you're here with the word Enoshi from woman, all right? But the woman is Isha. And again, this means together. It means the wife. It is the irregular plural of Nashim. And in a very wide sense, as one differing, but yet dignified. And the interesting part here was the part that they have a trade, not like an exchange, but a craft. So when a woman submits herself to a man, she submits the God-given trade that he put in the woman when he made the woman. So now look at the passage, verse number 23. This now is bone of my bone. Let me go to verse 21. Yahweh calls the deep sleep, verse 21. Look at the top of your screen, verse 21. Yahweh calls the deep sleep to fall upon Adam. Say Adam was 2 in 1. Say it. Adam was 2 in 1. And Elohim caused the deep sleep to fall upon Adam. Adam slept, and Elohim took one and closed up the flesh thereof instead. Verse 2. And that which he took, Elohim took from man and made a womb man, and brought her back to Adam. Adam said, when he woke up, this is now bone of my bone. This is flesh of my flesh. I know it is. And she shall be called womb man. Because what, y'all?
She was taken from man.
Say it louder. The word says she was taken out of man. So Adam knew that she was of him. He knew the femininity in him had been removed, and now it is in a physical pulchritude staring him in his face. Now, what I want y'all to pay attention to before I move further down this network of dialogue, please catch this in your hearts. When Elohim made man, he made man from a parcel of ground. Notice when he took the feminine, the womb man, out of the human, he did not give her an actual body from another mountainside or another parcel of dirt. The purpose for you seeing he used the rib, meaning Elohim used the sinew, however you want to put it, the dirt of the existing human, basically stretching it to make her suit. Her physical pulchritude came from whatever made Adam. And it was from Adam directly. It was not from another parcel of dirt. It wasn't from another mountainside that Elohim said, okay, feminine, come on out of man while he's sleeping. Stand right here naked in your spirit. Let me get you another mountain over here on the west side. Let me carve you out this mountain and slap you on some protoplasm and make you what you are. No, he doesn't do that, because if Elohim makes her pulchritude, her outward wear from another mountain, another parcel of dirt, rather than make it from Adam's protoplasm, Adam's suit, she would become Adam's competition at tilling the ground. She would become Adam's competitor at doing the will of the Father. She would become Adam's competitor, not Adam's complement. And Adam being a complement to her, because they were both the same. He just said it wasn't good for man to be all one. So Elohim separated the two that were one and gave them both the same suit from the same one he made. And then said, now y'all might be separate physically, but I want y'all to work together spiritually as you were designed. You know, I don't know where, it doesn't matter what I do or where I go. I don't know why. I think I need to start a protein farm and start selling. Anybody want to go into business with me for some crickets? Yeah, I would. No matter how much I talk, I always hear crickets around me. I hear it's a good protein if you know how to do the process right. Anybody? Based on what we're teaching, I think we could probably make a great deal of money and probably really, really invest in the kingdom work if we started a cricket protein farm and produced some cricket protein for the market. Because every time I talk, I keep hearing crickets. I don't hear nothing else but crickets. So I'm just trying to figure out, maybe that's a sign from the E-K-O-C. That's code backwards. That's a sign for me. I think it could be a sign for me to start a cricket protein bar. Father, is that a sign? I know Sabbath is over for me, but can you talk to the people on the West Coast and let them that are still in Sabbath tell me if that's you talking to me or if that's just me and my feelings? Because all I hear is crickets. Yeah, when you said he said no, I knew it wasn't him. So go back and get in your closet, put your tallit on. You didn't have time to put your tallit on. Don't talk to me until you came out your tallit. You know. Proving again the West Coast ain't the best coast. I ain't mad at the West Coast, but I'm just saying I need you to stay in the spirit. Okay, stay in the spirit. So that's why I said that to y'all, because I know we're out here. It's dark where I'm at, but I mean, you know, because all I get is crickets when I'm talking to y'all, and I know I'm giving y'all something that's really fortifying your souls. So look at what he does here. This gets real interesting to me. He says, and Adam, this is now bone of my bone, verse 23, very important. Adam says, this is bone of my bone. Adam and Eve were never designed to be competition. I'm gonna shake the world.
Not at all.
I am not. This is not anything on our programs. We are not anti-Semitic, anti-homophobic. We ain't none of that. We're real life. Masculinity and femininity are not to be in competition to each other. Masculinity is not supposed to become femininity, and then in its mindset that masculinity is saying it's femininity, now competing against femininity for the company of masculinity. And femininity, though thinking it should be masculinity, because masculinity has failed in their efforts at being truly feminine. Only another feminine can know what a feminine who's had a masculine meltdown failure knows what it's like. So another feminine now begins to think it masculine and competing against masculinity for the company of femininity to say, this is how we gonna do it. They're not supposed to be in competition. And that's why you have alternative lifestyles. Alternative is competition. Alternative is not congruent. It is not conducive to the same flow. It's trying to get it's trying to get the goal its way. That is competition. Are y'all learning anything? All right. I wonder how much I need. Brother Gregory, can you find me a facility somewhere out in, I don't know, I don't care where, anywhere in the country that might be a good facility to grow crickets, and then I need a facility to package the crickets. Brother Gregory, are you here? Is he on? I don't think Brother Gregory on the platform.
I'm on it. Yes, sir.
Sir, can you let me know, because we had a Sabbath, right? So can you look up a facility that maybe there might have been a cricket developing plant or nursery, or we need to find out how to make. I think we need to get a better protein. I think I really think this is a sign. I think. Notice I said I think, because I can be in the flesh sometimes, but I think that this might be a sign with all the crickets that keep following me no matter where I go and talk. I'm just be minding my business and talking about the Bible, and all of a sudden I get crickets. And, I just got to figure out what to do with them, because, this many crickets, this many crickets got to be a sign of provisions. So masculinity and femininity were never designed to be competition. They were developed as complementary to each other. How did they end up becoming competitive to each other? We're so bad down that line that, as much as I love the Gatorade commercials, and there was a great basketball player by the name of Michael Jordan, and some great soccer player named Mia, and they did this commercial competing. I want to be like Mike, and then she's like, no, I want to be like me. I can do whatever he can do. I can do better. that the whole mindset is a spiritual mindset that is saying, guys, we are competing with each other. And that was not the way we were designed to be. We weren't designed to compete with each other. We were designed to build with each other. So that's just one thing. So when Sariah and Abraham are in this state of mind as to how Ishmael got here, you have to understand what Elohim did. So man is supposed to be the antenna. Masculinity is the antenna. That's why you call something on a boat the mast. Oh, y'all didn't make that connection.
Wow. I did not.
Oh, okay.
Say it again.
Yeah, it's the mast. It helps you blow in the direction you should go. It helps to catch the flow. When you go to a building, what are you looking at to tell what's going to be happening inside that building? What are you looking at? The mast, right? Okay, let me keep going. I don't have time to explain all that. So when we get ourselves into this mindset and this state of mind that we realize that the masculinity is supposed to be the antenna that gets the sound, gets the signal in, then the masculine's job, watch this, which is why men have a problem communicating and women have a problem with men communicating, especially now. It would have been better for humanity if it, I don't say this, I'm sorry, Elohim. Elohim said it was not good that man should be all one. Human should be all one. It should be two different. But it's almost as if to say, women complain because men don't communicate once they get the instruction. She's always got to ask, babe, what you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking, babe? If you tell me what you're thinking, I can make it work. What you want for dinner, babe? I don't know. What you want to do, babe? I don't know. Where you want to go, babe? I don't know. I want to go too, but where you going to go? Lead me, babe. Lead me, husband. Lead me, sir. Lead me, man. And he's like, yeah, you figured it out. Well, I got to do everything. And they're frustrated because all they need to do is have one spark of an idea from you, and they will make that thing a party. She will blow that whole thing up. Babe, I just want to let's have a Netflix and chill moment. That Netflix and chill moment will be, I know what the world calls it. I'm just talking that in an ideal. She'll make that the best Netflix movie y'all ever had. She'll have the popcorn. She'll have the Doritos. She'll have the cheese. She'll have a fondue machine. She'll have mushrooms. She'll have every version. And y'all be like, whoa, she got plush on the floor. All she needs is the stroke of an idea. And the way she's designed fills the resources to that idea. Okay, so here's what I'm figuring. If I can get like 13 people to just invest, I don't know, maybe $10,000 each, I'll give each of you 10% in the business. 3%. I gotta keep going. 3%, and you're gonna get after the first year of business with these crickets, y'all keep feeding me, we'll be wealthy. Then I'll go to Shark Tank and put it on Shark Tank and see if I can get some investors in Shark Tank to give us a couple million.
Hey, if not, you can sell it to the fishermen.
See what I mean? Just a thought. And Elder Rogers, her resource. I had a vision. She submitted a plan. You see how it works instinctively?
Yeah.
Did y'all see that?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And that's why men, when we get around women, we like, well, I got an idea. It's like, well, what is it? What is it? What is it? Wait, I can't figure it out. And if we don't spit it out, she gets frustrated with us. And then you got women like, I don't want a man like that. And truth is, most of the men are going to be like that because we've not mastered how to communicate, which is why Elohim said in Ephesians, husbands, love your wives. This is how you do that. Which is also in Ephesians earlier when it says, wives, you're going to always tell what you're thinking, whether it's your husband or not. But I want you to submit your thoughts to your husband, your own husband. Because many women have made their jobs their surrogate husbands. The investment in the cricket farm just went up to $1,100 from $1,000, an investor.
But you're right, climbing. Stocks are climbing.
Yeah, they're climbing. Because I keep getting more crickets. And the more crickets I get, I need more money to know how to get rid of them and put them in packages. That means I got to go buy some kind of environmentally safe packaging that's biodegradable once we've eaten the protein. And it's got I don't want a whole bunch of preservatives. So I got to be able to have a place that's going to be actually hold it naturally in place until we can get it to the markets and people can consume it. So right now the investment just went up $1,000. So.
Apostle, you know somebody's gonna come up with that, you know that?
Well, it ain't like that's the first time or the 89,000th time someone stole an idea I've had. So I'm good with it.
Y'all Yahweh will give witty inventions during Sabbath. Hallelujah.
So when men can get an idea out of their head, it's okay if he can't get the idea out of his head once or twice. But when it's like constantly, yeah, babe, I don't want to talk about it. And we think that she's nagging us. Babe, I said, I don't know right now. I ain't got time for that right now. Just let me go sit down. And, let me go sit down. Babe, I need an idea because I'm going crazy. I'm not going crazy, but I got all this energy inside of me. I know something's on the brink. Something's on the bow of life, and something's about to change us. But babe, I need you to give me the idea out your head so I can bring it to life. Help bring it to life. What you got in your head? Write the vision on the wall. I need all the brothers. I need all the men. I need all the men. I feel a prophetic moment. All the men. I want you to say this. If you don't say it, type it in. I don't care if you're on the replay of this. I don't care if you're on the live of this. I don't care if you're on Clubhouse. I don't care if you're on Facebook or YouTube. I want you to say it, type it, do something. But I want you to say, write the vision. Every masculine person, say, write the vision.
Go ahead.
Write the vision.
Write the vision.
Write the vision.
Brothers, if we could communicate what we see, the woman, the femininity will help bring it to fruition. But we got to write the vision on the wall so that they that see it can run therewith. And we're not writing it on the wall. We got it in our head talking about my wife don't ever support me because you ain't said nothing. But she supports the job. She supports Frito-Lay. She supports Pepsi. She supports Legalese. She supports the city commission. She supports the mayor. Shoot, she supports a church because all of them have a vision they put forth. And when they see a vision, guess what they do? They run with it. And Elohim has instructed every feminine entity for the masculine's purpose of function and balance, that if masculinity can write it on the wall, feminine, submit your ideas to your own husbands first. And that is a business in itself. You will prosper in that alone. If you really understand what happens in the world of business, many of the businesses that you have right now are a husband and wife team. They might have ended up in divorce and she pulled a, unfufu on it, half. I want half, Eddie, half. But it started. Pull the unfufu. If you write something on the wall, the woman will run with it. Why do you think she's so good at going through your phone? She's insane. You're not going to give her the energy to do it. The natural proclivity and incline and instinct is she got to see something written. She's got to see something told. She needs to have a conversation with you. Babe, where you at? Hun, what you thinking? Babe, I was thinking about this. Okay, where you trying to go? Boy, you lost your mind. Well, I was just thinking, babe. Yeah, well, think different. All right. And then we get frustrated because she challenged the thought. And basically all she's saying is go back to the Father. Now that's where I brought you to 1 Peter chapter 3. Y'all promised not to leave. Some of y'all did, and I know it took a minute, but you can't say it wasn't edifying. And you also walked into an investment opportunity with Crickets Unlimited. Okay.
Yes, sir.
1 Peter chapter 3. Why is this important? 1 Peter chapter 3. Look at verse 1. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection, meaning submit, unto your own husbands. That if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wife. While they behold your chaste conversation, coupled with fear, reverence, whose adorning, let it not be in the outward adorning of plaiting of the hair and the wearing of the gold or putting on of apparel. This is also about some cultural things in Paul's day. Verse 4 says, but let it be with the hidden man of the heart, in which is not corruptible, even the ornament of the meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Elohim a great price. So some of y'all is worthless in the context of this, because Elohim says it is look at verse 4. I'm gonna come back to my point, but verse 4 says, but let this be the hidden man of the heart, that is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Elohim of great price. So some of y'all have lessened y'all price because y'all don't have a meek and a quiet spirit. I am not telling y'all to be no pushovers. I'm not telling you women, you trying to tell us not to speak. Y'all ain't gonna be silencing our voices. I'm not gonna be silent no more. I'm not telling y'all to be silent. Some of y'all just do not possess a meek nor a mild spirit. All that chatter, chopping, spitting, talking back, got to be the boss because you had other jokers in front of you that couldn't be a boss, and then you got in a fight with them and all this other stuff. You ain't got a meek and a mild spirit. The eyelashes ain't mild, ain't at all mild. They loud and abrasive. Can you back up your dogs, please? Why are they on your eyes? What's the problem? So anyway, y'all. Father, help me today. Just putting it out there. And so many have lost their value because we don't have a meek and a mild spirit, and we're saying it because of some PTSD stuff. And granted, we've done some wild stuff. We just wild and crazy. But if you have a meek and mild spirit with your spouse, he'll want to stay with you, and he'll want to stay with you so much that you want to stay with him. Watch. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at this. Look at verse number 6. Look at verse number 6. I'm sorry, we're in verse number 4. But let it be with the hidden man of the heart, which is not corruptible. See, that meek and mild spirit does not get you corrupted. You won't have to think about, bull and grits. Just have a meek and a quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Elohim. Did y'all realize that? Did y'all read that? Did y'all read that? Did y'all read that? Did y'all read that? Listen. Have the ornament of a meek and a quiet spirit, which in the sight of Elohim is of great price. How many of y'all read that way for the first time? How many of y'all was this day old when you realized that a meek and a quiet spirit makes Elohim value me greatly? Y'all still got y'all got this. Y'all messing around with that Aunt Hattie spirit. Talking about, you tell that joker, you tell him I said, and you tell him I said, and you need to tell him where to get off. I can do bad all by myself, all loud. Even if you're gonna say it quietly, like inside. But you ain't got the quiet and a meek spirit. You're not of great price to Elohim. So if you're not of great price to Elohim, watch this. But you want Elohim to bring you a man. You like, Elohim, bring me a man. And you're not even of a high price to him. So how he going to present you as a high price, high value, high class person, and you ain't got a meek and a quiet spirit? I'm not telling you to take down to no joker. I'm talking about you having discipline in yourself, that you obey the Father's instructions to be meek. Don't mean you weak. And to be quiet. You can't be screaming at everybody. And we all, for Pete's sake, I don't even know who Pete is. Well, I had a brother named Pete. He's passed on. I miss him dearly. But this was before my brother passed away. So for Pete's, I don't even know who Pete is. But for Pete's sake, over these next holiday seasons, because I'm watching y'all on videos, have a quiet spirit. That means you don't bump your gums as much. You don't talk as much. And please, for Pete's sake, stop talking loud with food in your mouth. You chewing all them yams and all them greens and you talking with your mouth open. It is not a good look, and Elohim ain't bringing nobody near you with those type of ethics. Ain't gonna happen. So back to the Cricket Farm. Crickets Unlimited, is that a good name? Crickets Unlimited Incorporated.
Yeah, that's it. You gonna be on Sundays tomorrow? I mean, Monday?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Crickets Unlimited. Y'all think I'm joking?
It sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Was that the meek you or the quiet you that said that?
And put some chocolate over the crickets.
It wasn't the meek nor the mild. Clearly, you missed the whole message.
I got the message about it.
All right, let me finish up with this so we get off. I said don't leave me until 1 Peter was done, didn't I? Watch. Look at 1 Peter. Ladies, understand this about why you have to be with your husband. Husbands, understand this, why you have to write the vision on the wall. Watch. Look. Verse number 4. Let it be of the hidden man in the heart, so it's uncorruptible, right? Meek and a quiet spirit makes you of great price in the sight of Elohim, right? Verse 5. For after this manner in the old times, holy women, the women who was really holy. Y'all got a holiness culture, but y'all not holy women. Holy women understood how to be meek and how to be quiet, but how to be strong and how to still be directive and in control and take down for no foolishness. Holiness don't make you a holy woman. Woo, let me say it out loud one more time for the people in the back. Your holiness church don't make you a holy woman. A meek and a quiet spirit, knowing whose you are in him, does. It don't mean you take down to no joker. Let me get back on here. Apostle Walker, I need you to help me get the actual documentation together so we can get our EIN number for Crickets International. Crickets Unlimited. That's what we're going to call it. Crickets Unlimited.
Crickets galore.
Crickets galore. I had to think about that one. As an idea, thanks for submitting it. You notice how the ladies are the ones who come up with the ideals. The brothers ain't said a daggone thing. Do you see how that works? Y'all think I'm joking. Women, all they need is an idea. And if they see you strong enough about it, they're going to be like, yo, we can put, and then we can, and you know what, this could, I know somebody, and then I know a guy, I know a girl. But brothers be like, well, I'm going to get another vision. So I'm just saying, hold on, guys. I'm coming to help y'all in a second. I'm going to help y'all right here, brothers. Watch this next part. Is everybody all right? I need masculine and feminine to respond. Is everybody okay? I need to hear some voices. I need to hear your voices.
We're okay.
Doing all right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, cool. Look at verse number 6. Look at verse number 5. For after this manner, that's how women are doing themselves. Watch this. How did a woman really dress herself well? She was dressed by being in subjection to who?
Her own husband.
Wow. Verse number 6 says, and then he uses this reference, even as Sariah, because Sariah was a boss. Sariah was a boss. Everybody knew she was a boss. She knew what she was doing. But it says, even as Sariah, who we all know was a bad woman, she was a boss. She obeyed Abraham. She even called him master. See verse 6? She called him kurios, meaning my authority, meaning the person I give control to, meaning my master as a respectful title. That makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah.
So they throw her in the mix and use her purpose to make sure you understand what's going on. Now watch this next part. This is where it gets real interesting to me. And I want y'all to pay close attention to it, because it's really, really, really needful to be seen. Now watch this. Verse number 6. For even as Sarai obeyed Abraham, she called him Lord, whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid of being that way with any sense of amazement. Now, here is why we talked about husband and wife being one, coming together, understanding things the way Elohim would have to be understood. He says, likewise, you husbands, just as the women have to submit, you got to submit. Watch. Likewise, you husbands, you have to dwell with your wife according to knowledge. So that means you got to understand her whims, her needs, her desires, her movements, everything that goes along with her. You got to understand what makes her happy, what makes her upset. You got to understand that she has multiplied emotions, much more multiplied emotions than you. So be careful how you deal with her. Dwell with her according to knowledge. Verse 7. Husbands, dwell with your wife according to knowledge. Give honor unto your wife. You want your wife to submit to you? Give your wife honor, as if she were the weaker vessel. Because if you don't think she's weak, you know why he had to tell them this, y'all? Can I help y'all with this? You know why he had to tell him?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Can I tell him? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because if a man don't see it, you know how I just told y'all, like I said to y'all jokingly, how the women came on the idea tip. When I gave the idea for Crickets Unlimited, I got ideas and resources from other women. The femininity stood up. The brothers won't, because they see, well, you got a vision. All right, fine. Then I'll go get my own vision. But instead of in that space, it's just not that they competing or they jealous or they hating. It's just, it's not their nature. That's not how we're built. Watch. Why do I bring that up in this statement? Giving honor to the wife as if she's the weaker vessel. Men, if a woman is boss, we leave her alone. We respect her, but we leave her alone. And by doing so, we don't honor her for what she is and how she is to our unit. Because she's boss, she's doing it, she's gonna do what she wants anyway. I can tell y'all right now, I'm a marriage counselor. I can tell you right now how many men be like, man, I don't even mess with her. She gonna do what she wanna do anyway. Notice how they laugh? Y'all better listen. That was masculine. That just came out of masculinity. Because we know, like, man, you know what? Just when I get home, it's gonna be changed anyway. It don't even matter. She act like she heard me. Y'all not gonna talk to me. I'm not even gonna bother with her. We don't honor her because it's difficult. Once a man identifies that you ain't gonna listen, and it's not even that you don't listen, it's that you are effective and efficient in what you do, with or without us being lockstep with what we're supposed to do, and that is give you vision. If you ain't gonna give a vision, trust me, a woman gonna find a vision. You don't believe me? Okay, you stop talking about building a house with your spouse. She gonna find something in the house to give her vision. Next thing you know, you need a kitchen repair. Next thing you know, you need bathrooms redone. She got a new vision. In the vision, last vision you gave her to keep herself doing what she organically and instinctively does. And that's why men hate to come home, because as soon as I get home, she's like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do the other. And the real trick to you wanting to come home to your wife, brothers, is coming home with a vision. Babe, we going to boss up. We going to level up. I got a new vision. I want you to sit down and talk to me about it. I'm thinking we can go buy a duplex. Yeah. You're gonna have to stop getting you're gonna have to get a lesser grade of hair just for a couple months and get some shorter eyelashes And
And what is he giving up?
we get a duplex along with our house. So that the duplex, listen, if I can get the duplex and you work with me, you don't have to, you can get the best grade of hair you want. I just need a year and a half to get this done. If not, every day you come home, I want a bigger pool out back. I want new cabinets in the kitchen. I want them people who come in, I saw the commercial, I want the people to come in and do a makeover in our bathroom. I want a makeover in one day. Because she's going to find something to put her resource to. So watch this, brothers. Here is why it's important that the brothers and the women work together in harmony, in unison. Watch. Look at the passage. Look at 1 Peter chapter 3. Verse 7. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with your wife according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife. The reason men have a hard time honoring their wife is because the wife is just going to do what she wants to do. And he's like, she ain't really hurting us, but she not respecting me. So she just going to do it. Just let her go. I'll just give her like a carte blanche. Just do what you want to do. As long as you ain't going over this amount of money. They might put money budgets in. They might put time budgets in and be like, just go ahead and do it. But it's hard for a man to honor somebody that is just as vision conscious as him. That's why the instruction in the marriage is, brothers, honor your wife as if she's weaker than you. Not that she is. But if you honor her as if she is weaker and like don't treat her like you would treat your competition, you might not hate your competition. You might not be your competition's enemy. You might be okay with your competition getting paid in the same market, but really honor your wife. This is what Ephesians 5 was also saying. Peter's just saying it differently than Paul. Honor your wife as if she were weaker than you. You're going to get a whole lot more out of that relationship. And wives, wear a meek and a quiet spirit, and you'll get a whole lot more out your husband that way. And y'all will work perfectly together. Let's read this some more. Y'all okay with that before I move on? Watch, because I haven't gotten to the point yet where I told y'all not to go. You ready?
I'm good.
Okay, good. That's all the masculinity we got on the platform today? That's it? All right. Watch this.
I'm here.
Okay, I hear you. Verse 7. Likewise, husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. Now, in order for you to know and have and dwell with them according to knowledge means you got to pay attention to them. Understand what they're looking for, and then you'll be easier able to honor them. Why is that important? Dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and dwell with her as being an heir together with you of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So, brothers, you got to honor her as a weaker vessel. Sisters, you have to have a quiet and a meek spirit, and you got to be together to hear what Elohim is saying to be done, because if you're divided and in competition and in animosity with each other, one, you're both not getting the package marriage is prepared for. Marriage requires and actually draws a blessing plan out of Elohim for the marriage to do its job in the earth. But you can't get that package of blessing because you're divided. You are heirs together of this grace. See, when Elohim puts that grace package for your marriage together, you and your wife have to be, one, you honoring her as if she's a weaker vessel, knowing she's not. Two, ladies, you putting on that meek and quiet spirit, even though he ain't talking like you want. If you're quiet enough, he will find that he needs to say something, and then he'll end up slipping out and sharing the vision with you. And now you got what you wanted. Instead of trying to nag him and get it out of him, let him hear so much quiet that you let him know, baby, I ain't nobody saying nothing in this house until you do. And now he starts talking and he hears his own voice. What man stops talking when he hears his own voice in his own house, echoing in this place, and got a wife looking at him like what he's saying makes sense to her? And then he can say, well, baby, I was thinking we need to blow this back wall out right here. We could probably do some more entertaining in this place if we could get that porch and that pool together. She's like, babe, I was thinking that last week. You know what, baby? We in the spirit together. Yeah, it just took me a minute to think about it. I know. Y'all don't want to talk about real life. I'm sorry. Let's keep it moving. So now he's coming up with ideas. He's giving visions. And since you'd already been thinking about it, you can act like, babe, I heard you. You know, I heard you last night. You was talking about what we could do. We could blow that back there. And I agree with you. Here's 5 different schematics on how we can get that. You're submitting to your own husband. You're a schematic. You're not submitting it to the repairman you talked to 4 months ago. You're submitting it to your husband. Be like, babe, I was thinking about this when you mentioned it, and here's some ideas I got. I know a guy. All right. So the price just went up to $5,000 investment on what I believe will be Cricket's Unlimited Galore. Galore just don't run off the tongue right for me, but I'll think about it. But Cricket's Unlimited. I'm giving y'all some stuff that will help y'all out.
I appreciate that, boss.
If you would be quiet, your man would talk more. That just came out. My bad. It just came.
You trying to start something?
I'm trying to start some empires in y'all's lives. And brothers, if you would intentionally share your thoughts, she would not overtalk so much. She's trying to find ways to pull out of you what's in you. She married you because it's in you. At least that's what you told her when those moments came, that you had those deep emotional moments with her. Talk, communicate. Crickets Unlimited LLC. Thank you, Apostle Walker. I knew you was gonna get on it. Yeah, I'm feeling it too.
Hot commodity.
Come on, ladies, tell me the truth. How many of y'all want your man to talk more?
I do. Me.
I'm neutral.
Apostle, you know who can get quiet and then they become suspicious, right?
Exactly. So, and brothers, how many of y'all? Brothers, how many of y'all want y'all?
Don't do it.
Brothers, how many of y'all want your wives to stop nagging y'all so much? Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer. No, then I wouldn't be fair because I made the ladies answers. Brothers, you got to answer. How many of y'all want them to not like just keep picking your brain like they're doing, because they're picking it apart? Brothers ain't gonna answer. They say, I am not ready for the doghouse. It's winter. If you'd have asked me in June, it's a little warmer. I could have went outside in my man cave, but it's cold. Baby, it's cold outside. I hear y'all singing it right now.
We're not there yet.
I ain't never heard so many harmonic tenors in my life. Listen, they was like
Crickets of another kind.
oh, okay, that'll be a subsidiary. Crickets of another kind. Apostle Walker, let's make note of that one too. Crickets Unlimited, Crickets of another kind. Crickets Galore can be a subsidiary of Crickets Unlimited and Crickets of another kind. Okay, all right. I'm seeing how this is coming together. Conglomeracy. We're gonna make it work. So 1 Peter 3:7 makes so much more sense. Because you can't get the grace of Elohim to fall on your marriage when you two are divided. Because you are heirs together of the grace of life. The grace of life is yours when you are in unity. There is just grace that doles out to you when you are together in unity with your spouse. And then, watch this. Look at what it says. Look at what it says. Look at this passage. Look at the passage. Look at the passage. Look at the passage. Look at the passage. Look at verse number 7. And when you guys start praying for different things to get done, your prayers will not be hindered. Do y'all realize how many marriages have hindered prayers? Because you glossing over, passing over your dishonoring of your wife and your disrobing of a meek and a quiet spirit to your husband. And you talking about each other to your parents and to your besties. Or you trying to talk to their bestie to get them to tell them off so that they can tell them you doing him wrong, or they can tell her, you tell him you doing her wrong. You should, and you got all these people involved, and y'all divided, and your prayers aren't being answered. And you talk about God bless this house. You're screaming and hollering at each other. He ain't honoring her. She ain't got a quiet or a meek spirit. It's like, I'm a boss chick. I don't care what you do. You can pack your grip and go. I got my daddy and my brothers. They taught me how to fight, and I got my pistol. What you want, Mr. Man? I don't care. I don't care. Wait a minute. These cost too much. What?
That part got me.
Yeah, they y'all missed it. Y'all didn't see that. They took the eyelashes off. It used to be the earrings. Now it's the eyelashes cost too much. They put it down.
No.
So I can see better. Because any good dad gonna teach his daughter how to fight. And he gonna tell him in this day and age, don't let no man push you around. But the reality is, it's not that no man should be physical with a woman. I don't care who you are. However, but don't get it twisted. Don't think that if you should decide to act stupid and get physical, she won't get physical back. Mine gonna hurt you. And then they gonna call me. You better hope I'm in a praying mood. I'm just putting that out there. So that's the mindset, the mentality of where things need to be. Apostle Walker, I'm coming for these eyelashes because they are too long. Too long. And it's not a good look, y'all. I've seen some of y'all, man, y'all got them on so beautifully, so nicely. They sit in the eye pocket. They stay in the socket. Some of y'all is outside the socket. It looked like some kind of alien growth. And it's when you turn your head sideways and I'm like, what was you thinking? And I don't think you got friends. Your friends are not your friends if they let you go out of the house with eyelashes like that. You need to check your friend circle.
I'm in the right place.
Yeah. Your friends be like, ooh, you go ahead. If they can only look at you from the front, that means if they look at you in the front until you look fire and then see you on the side, But because they told you it looked fire in the front, they're not going to disappoint you by the side view. Like, you know what? But they might be a little too long, baby. Why don't y'all tell your friends the truth? You know what? They look nice. So try to cut them down from the back and then re-glue them. Because the front, the way you fluff them out with that cashmere look, okay, that's cool. But they might be a little too long, like an inch. And just have them fill the socket of the eye. Y'all see how detailed I am about this? Because it's irritating me. Eyelashes way out here, dangling. It ain't right. It ain't right. Get them in the socket. I don't care what you do. Put roses in your eye sockets if you want to. Just don't let them come outside your socket where they touching your glasses. I had one woman, I'm watching her in the car. It was hilarious. Hilarious. She is riding in, I'm looking at it right now. She had a jet black, satin finished Range Rover, the big boy. And she's in the mirror. She doesn't have tint on the front window. She's taking her glasses off and she's trying to put her glasses on her face, but they keep smearing her inner lens because they was too, I'm watching from the side. I'm looking at her through her passenger door into her drive, and she can't wear the glasses out far enough on her nose to miss her eyelashes. You don't think that's a problem? I think that's a problem. That's a serious case of denial. Y'all didn't find that funny? That's true. That's an actual story. I can promise you. So crickets galore with crickets. What a visual. With crickets. Yeah, we're gonna see. Well, we didn't stay long today, but I'm glad we had a chance to come together and be together. But you got to understand that for the man to be who the man is, and the woman to be who the woman is, and the marriage to be what it needs to be, the woman and the man both need to be in prayer together. Hear the plan Elohim has. The man then communicate that interpretation with his spouse. When she hears it come out of his mouth. Can I give y'all, we had some fun with this, right? But I want to give y'all something else to think about. Remember, let me show you how Yahweh really works. Now, we've been having some fun and laughing, but let me be very serious right now. Can I tell you how Yahweh really works with something? Yes? No? Maybe so?
Sure. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Watch this. So remember in the book of Genesis, when the Bible says, and Adam called all the beasts of the field and to see what he would call them. Genesis chapter number 2, verse 19. Y'all gonna go there with me? Let me help y'all with this. Genesis 2, 19. I'm gonna put it on the screen so y'all can see it. Genesis 2:19. And out of the ground, Yahweh our Elohim formed every beast of the field, every fowl of the air, and he brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. I'm going to repeat it. Out of the ground, Elohim formed every beast of the field, every fowl of the air, and he brought them to Adam to see what Adam would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. Now, look at this flow. Elohim already knew the name of those creatures, right? Y'all talk to me. I need some.
Yes.
Adam was born after Elohim made all those creatures, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all please talk to
No,
me.
he wasn't born.
Thank you. But he was made after, right?
Yes, correct. Amen. Amen.
So all those things that were made on day 6 were made before Adam.
Yes.
So Elohim had already named those things before he made Adam.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So why was it significant that Adam had to actually call those things that were made before he was made in the Sabbath day. Why was that important? Because once Elohim said, I don't have a man to till the ground, I want to give man dominion over everything, man has to call it what I tell it. And when he calls it what I tell it, cattle, beast, fowl, will hear his voice as mine. And he will have dominion over that once he calls it. It was already named that, but those elements had to hear Adam say it. Say a voice-activated kingdom. You still scratching your head as to why I brought you? You still scratching your head as to why I brought you here about Adam and Eve and that? Here's why. So when Elohim gives vision to Adam, until he speaks it, the resource can't respond to him. So when man doesn't share the vision with his spouse, the vision with his spouse can't trigger all the necessary resources. It won't start. A man can have a million dreams in his head, but if he never speaks them, his wife can't get on them with him. But if she hears Chef Eddie on TV, or she hears Oprah, or she hears Dick Gregory, or she hears whoever the next mogul is, who's supposed to be the next TED Talk or the next master class, all of her resources starts to pour out of her head because a vision is being placed before her. So until her man, her husband, her authority she's subjecting herself to speaks, she can't get behind it. So then people get mad. And even in this case, and I'm sort of got to be careful here because I also have, I'm a ministry. So when people hear vision, they run with it. When femininity hears vision, they run with it. So most pastoral boards or church boards produce a vision. They put it in a book, then they make a mission statement, put it in a book, or vice versa, mission, then the vision, right? And now any person that sees that, so most men that see a mission or vision that they were not a part of, go to make their own. Most femininity, when they see a mission or a vision, they start running with it. And that's why you got people working in your churches harder as femininity than some femininity working at home with their husbands. Because the husband's not putting out a vision. The husband's not putting out a mission. The husband's not putting out an objective or narrative. And they got to make their own up. And sometimes it's just easier to find one down the street or at their job. And you wonder why they're working all night, every night. You think they're doing something. No, they're just where there's vision that keeps the instincts and the natural organisms of them, the natural functionality of them going. It keeps them and gives them life. They can't come home and sit down and listen to you flagellate on the couch talking about, oh, that was a good game. Every night, night after night, each new sport with stinking socks on. Babe, I want to build a boat so we can sail the world. I know who got some wood. Okay, crickets dancing in the night. How's that sound? Because I'm pretty soon going to need to start knowing what to do with these crickets. Okay. Tomorrow, we'll be here after Sabbath service, and we'll be talking about a few beautiful items. I hope that you guys will join us for that tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. But Adam had to say it in order for the land to respond to him. And once Elohim separated masculinity from femininity in Adam, he brought the woman to the man the same way he brought the herds and the cattle to Adam. Did y'all read that? Look, let's do it again. Verse 19. Look at verse 19, y'all. I better hear somebody say, oh my goodness. Look at verse 19. Out of the ground, Elohim formed every beast of the field, every fowl of the air. What's those two words there, right, y'all? And he what?
And brought them.
He brought them where?
To Adam.
To see what Adam would call them. And whatever Adam called them, that's what the name of them was. Right? So we know Elohim was the one who gave him the names. Now watch this. Go down with me. We're still in chapter 2. Go down now with me to verse number 21. So Elohim, so we know in verse number 20, all right, let's do 21 all over again. 19. He formed every beast of the field of the ground. He brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. Verse 20. Adam gave names to all the cattle, as Yahweh gave it to him, and to every beast, and Adam was not found a helpmeet for him. Verse 21. And Elohim then caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. So Adam is naming everything by the names Elohim gave him. He's naming everything by the names Elohim gave him. And then as he named them in front of the element, whatever the animal was, whatever the beast was, whatever the creeping thing was, all those things were brought to Adam. And they had to hear Adam call them that thing. Now, Adam at that time was masculine and feminine. Do y'all agree? Because verse 21, then says, look, verse 21 then says, and then Elohim caused, verse 20 says, and Adam gave names to all the cattle, every beast of the field, and for Adam there was not found a help meet. Verse 21, and Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and Adam slept. He took one of the ribs, closed up the flesh thereof instead. Verse 22, of the rib he made a woman and brought her unto the man. And verse 22, and the rib which Elohim had taken from man, he made a woman, and he what?
Brought her.
So why y'all think Elohim brought the woman now back to big head antenna? We're not hearing y'all. You're coming off mute too fast and you're talking too fast. Say your name and say what?
Danielle, and I said to see what he would call her.
Okay, slow down, Daniel, because everybody don't talk our language, so it's gonna be hard. Say it again slow.
Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, Shabbat Shalom. To see what he would call her.
Background noise. So Daniel said he brought her to the man to see what the man would call her. Do y'all think the man knew what she was, or did Elohim also tell him what to call the new person on the block?
He told her what to call.
Yeah. But he had to say what she was in order for her to be who she would be.
That part.
Okay, let me say it again. Verse 19.
Right.
Pay attention, y'all. Verse 19, Elohim brought all the animals he had made to Adam so that they could hear Adam's voice. and know that Adam had dominion. Now, at that time, Adam was male and female. Then Elohim, seeing male and female beast, male and female creeping thing, male and female bird, said it's not good for humanity, having dominion, to be all one entity. So he put humanity to sleep. He took the feminine out, used the body of the human, wrapped it now around the feminine, made the one two, and then told the two to act like one. But he said, when he put man to sleep, woke man up, he brought the new man to Adam to see what he would call her. Y'all find any coincidence?
Wow.
Amen.
You live in a voice-activated kingdom, people. And Adam didn't call the beast anything other than what the word called him. And he did not call the woman anything other than what the word called him. So when you and I come into Sabbath and we are speaking only his words, we are becoming then masters of the Sabbath.
Wow.
Got it.
Did we do too much jokey joke earlier for y'all to forget I can still stay serious?
Nah, brought it together.
So that's why once they failed, Elohim had to remind the woman in Genesis 3:15, hey, the way I made y'all is that I talk to him, he talks to you, you all get it done. Now you done went out here and had this conversation with the serpent. He failed you by not getting in front of the serpent. Fine. You all passed the buck. I cursed the serpent. Your body has been bothered, and I cursed the ground for his sake. But baby girl, when you get up from having this child in pain, your desire will go back to the way I intended when I made you. You need to hear his voice, and I'll be speaking through him. But even to get his voice to speak, you got to be with him when I'm speaking to him. Somebody shout Sabbath.
Oh, man.
Sabbath. Sabbath.
Sabbath.
All right.
Ooh, that was powerful.
It is powerful. I'm just trying to figure out why the crickets keep showing up on my platform.
This is in the third degree cricket.
Third degree cricket. Okay. I'll think about that one. All right. So everybody make sure when you in your house, that's what the man said. He said, as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh, who is our Elohim. And that's what we got to do. That's what we want to do. That's what we need to do. And that's what we're going to do. As for me and my house, we're going to be quiet on the Sabbath day, invite Elohim into my home, into my garage, into my front room, into my kitchen, into my pool, into my bedrooms, into my guest rooms. And you're going to, Yahweh, come into my space and give me your words. As a man, my wife with me, my children with us, and our vision and his vision for our life discussed. And now everybody leaves there on one accord. We as a family heard God. And my dad as a leader with my mom as his partner spoke the word of Elohim in our world. And now we, in connection with the resources that my mother is and we are, all of us got our hands together in this one vision Because vision's on the wall. We who do what we do get our parts, and we go get it done, come back, and voila, here you go. That's real marriage. That's real family. That's real kingdom in the earth. And then you find yourself gravitating to other people in your neighborhood who work under that same type of auspice. Before you realize it, you're all gathering together at the same place on certain days to relish in that lifestyle, i.e. church. So your church should be an example of the life of your family. That's why you gather together under church. Hope that made sense.
That's deep. It did.
Good. All right. Well, it has been an absolute joy to chat with you all. Moderators, find out who that is, what that is. Talk to me, please.
Yes.
All right. Man, we got all this time. We got 13 comments in the chat. Let me see what kind of comments we got. And they're just hellos. Well, Shabbat Shalom to everybody else. Shabbat Shalom to each of you. Danielle, Mitzah, Matisha. Shabbat Shalom to you. Maria Bless. Wanda, Ben, and Gregory. Shabbat Shalom to you guys. Those are still in there. All right. Mods, what's next? Who's on cue?
Danielle, sir.
Danielle, what you got?
I had a question. I don't know if I missed something, but when you first came on, you were talking about the red heifer. Is that something that we're putting on pause?
We did not. We did not get into it. We started with the red heifer. I was hoping that my dear colleagues Hollins would be on, and apparently they're not. So we'll probably readdress it next week because it's an important thing to discuss. I'll be getting into eschatology at the end of the month. I think December. What's the date? What are we in? We're in December now, right? So
Right.
January 1, we'll be talking about eschatology for 4 weeks. And I wanted to sort of kind of prelude that with the talk about the red heifer, because there's so many people flirting around with ideas of, oh, there's a red heifer. We found a red heifer in Israel. So that's a prophecy. So I want to make sure you guys understand what the red heifer is and where it comes from. And pastors and Dr. Holland were in their own Sabbath studies, and they brought some great questions forward that they were doing in themselves. And so I said, it'd be a great conversation to just not for you and I, but let's just open it up for everybody. And they agreed, but I'm not, they may be, I got late on today. I got on late today because I was just resting today, just resting and thinking and introspection. And he gave me a release to come on, so I came on late. And so there you have it. But
Shalom, sir. I did see them on earlier on Facebook.
oh, they were? Oh, okay. Nobody told me. But yeah, so I'll probably just get going on the red heifer piece next week, because it's just we need hours to talk about that, because it shows you when I show you by the Torah what the red heifer is, who the red heifer is, and when you will encounter the benefits of the red heifer. Yeah, it'll be relatively exciting for you all. It was a conversation that was reignited in me when I got the question, and I said, you know what? I haven't talked about this in some years, so let me get on it with them. Does that help, Danielle?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool beans. Thank you for asking. But what we were doing, though, Danielle, in the beginning was building up to that and trying to understand that before you understand the red heifer, you also need to understand Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You have to understand the three monotheisms, and all of them are connecting and holding claim to the red heifer. And so I began to elude quite factually as to what Avraham was, and trying to refresh the memory of all who are listening with us as to how those monotheisms under Abraham came about. And one of them was who was the first child, okay? And how Abraham ended up having that child, and trying to refresh Christendom's mind, because we remember stuff, but we don't know it, right? Or I remember somebody said something about that, but we don't know what we're talking about, right? So my objective was to make sure that we understood Avram did have Ishmael. Ishmael is the leader of Islam, i.e. Muslim. And then you have his second child being Itzhak, Isaac, who gave us Esau and Jacob and Esau, and Jacob becoming Israel. So most don't realize that out of Israel comes this hijacked element of faith, he who hung on the cross, called Christianity, that you and I now embrace as if it's normalcy for life. So the three monotheisms earmarked today are Islam, Judaism, and its youngest sibling, Christendom. And to break them all down is the key for me to getting the understanding to you about the red heifer. So I wanted to just give information, and I would have speedlined it if I'd have known the Hollands were on, because I really wanted to make sure I get it with them. I could call them and talk to them personally, but they already know most of it. I just thought it was a very good conversation for everybody to have. I didn't know they were on. I wish I did. So at the end of the day, that's why we. And then once we got started talking about Soraya and how she submitted her plan for bringing the will of God to play, it is the foundation for proper marriage, as Peter and Paul tried to explain to modern day Christendom, that you submit yourselves one to the other. Avraham submitted to the will of Elohim. Soraya heard that will. She also submitted. She knew it was earnest and sincere. And she realized that with it, she could trust Avram. And so while we understand this, many people miss the marriage plug, the successful marriage plug. Soraya instinctively came up with a plan once she saw the vision of her man, and that he was seriously plugged in to that vision. She, being plugged into him, now has something to go after, and she put a plan together. Wrong plan, but she put a plan together, and that began to take on a new life in our conversation, and we never got back from it. But I hope we gleaned from it, because vision triggers a resource. Vision is attracted to resource. Resource is attracted to vision. Vision is masculinity. Resource is femininity. Femininity is attracted to masculinity. Masculinity is attracted to femininity. Therefore, vision is attracted to resource, and resource is attracted to vision. And when those two collide, now you have life. And apparently, Cricket's unlimited. So next week we'll just start when I come back, and I think prayerfully I'll be in next week a little bit sooner than I came in today. Today I was really in a really slow mode today, and just a thinking mode today, and a prayerful mode today. And when I got on, for me it was almost sundown over. Sundown already kicked in, and West Coast is benefiting from this because they can finally leave sundown at the same time. Sabbath the same time as the broadcast gets done. Yeah, I figured you'd say that, Brother Ben. So we'll talk about that red heifer. But I will say this to sort of kind of, preempt that conversation. You have to understand Ishmael's Islam, Yitzhak is Israel, Israel is Judaism now, in part. And then from Judaism actually sprung Christianity. Now that should give you a very clear look at a very religious effort, because Christianity comes from Judaism, and Yahweh never established Judaism. Therefore, he never established Christianity. Though Judaism claims him, and Christianity claims him, and Islam claims its version of him. But what was given to Abraham and to Moshe, thus Israel, is different. And we need to pay attention to that. And that's how the heifer plays in. But nobody wants to take the time to study it. That's why I was glad the Hollands were doing their own type of study. And then as we always do with, our colleagues, we tap into each other. Hey, let's look at this. Hey, let's study this. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So next week, I'm going to lead into how we Sabbath, why we Sabbath, and then go right into the, because I'm not going to do it tonight. We need hours for that. We need hours to show you everything that needs to be shown to you. But keep in mind, as you start anticipating that conversation next week during Sabbath, it is all Torah. Every ounce of it is Torah. Every ounce of that red heifer is Torah. But think about it. To remember who Avram, who Yitzhak, who Jacob, who Ishmael are, and what they represent today. And the plan of salvation that's wrapped around that red heifer, and the personages that are wrapped around that red heifer. And it's very important, because there are false prophecies going out right now within Christianity. And Christianity is such a laughing stock of world religions. And it doesn't have to be, if it would realize we started on the wrong tip with the wrong motive. And if we would ever come back to the Torah, it would be most advantageous for all accepting who Elohim is, and how to demonstrate his kingdom in the earth. It would help everybody. Though we'll never get world peace, and y'all need to realize that. Just because Christianity gets its act together does not mean that we're going to ever subvert world peace or the accomplishing of world peace. We're never going to subvert war. Pardon me. There will always be war. And there's no way out of that. That's prophecy. There will always be war, and war for the most idiotic and most selfish reasons known to humanity and beyond. However, when the believers in he who hung on the cross hear the reason he hung on the cross, and that's another part of that red heifer, man, I promise you, it's going to bless your life. When you understand why he hung on that cross, the faith of Christianity will be respected and revered more. Doesn't mean that we're going to stop war. War has to happen. We are in a construct of failure as humanity on an earth that Elohim made that disobeyed his instructions, that Elohim's the same. His word can't change until we all return back to him. And it's clear all are not returning back to him, though all have some way they claim him. And the way you claim him is not the way he wants. But you can think you got it. At the end of the day, we all have to answer, Elohim, what was right? How do we know you? Well, that Torah helps us because that Torah is his righteousness, flat out. And when we honor his Torah, Judaism does not honor Torah. They market it. Christianity does not honor Torah. They call it an antiquated responsibility. And though the New Testament comes from Torah, they only market the New Testament. So they never honor the Torah. They think they're smarter than the Torah. And that's a huge, huge issue. I don't know if I'm boring y'all with this or making sense to y'all, but once I get started on this, yeah, you get my juices flowing. Crickets for life.
It's a lot. It's extensive, actually.
So understanding Avram, understanding Moshe, understanding the reason for the heifer will eliminate the false prophecies people are galvanizing themselves behind and thinking they're seeing a revelation. Because he already revealed the heifer, the process, and the future. And depending on what side of theology, what denomination you come into theology under, things can look a certain kind of way. And things will be propagated. But make sure what you propagate is his truth. Without that, beloved, you're just making stuff up as you go along. And, I remember whenever I start talking about the fact that Yahweh is not speaking anything new, I'll instantly see a group of individuals constantly throwing back, God is new. God is doing a new thing. Okay. And then when they're like, well, he's doing this. Okay. You know that was written back here, right? So it's not new. It's right here. So people just believe that we're so entitled, that we're so special. And when we say God is doing something, he's doing something. And he's already told you there's nothing new under the sun. And we lose our minds when that gets challenged. So, all right. Well, Zion, I hope y'all get that. I'm going to let y'all go. We had a short Sabbath to teach on today, but we'll look at some stuff next time. Our chats are not filling up. Hey, Tomei Ford, good to see you, Pastor. Pray you and a wonderful family of yours is doing well. Apostle Walker, I always love you. So we'll be talking about that red heifer on next week. And you might want to just, don't invite nobody, but unless they're just, Torah keepers, Torah observant as well. Because when you start talking about these types of things amongst people who don't know that Judaism is not what Elohim ordained, and they don't know that Christianity is not what Elohim ordained, and Jesus did not come, Yeshua did not come to endorse Christianity. He did not come to endorse Judaism. When you start talking amongst people who don't know that, this kind of information we're going to give you will end up getting misconstrued, and people will just yield it to sound deep on their platforms, podcasts, vlogs, blogs, or pulpits, and just add confusion, because they don't know Yeshua didn't endorse Christianity. He didn't endorse Judaism. And in fact, his death turned down and destroyed Judaism, and Judaism rebirthed because it's still looking for and holding on to the glue of the Torah, which is a good thing. But Messiah never endorsed this Judaism. And I'm not anti-Semitic. This is not bashing it. It's just like Christianity. I love the believers. You're my family, but he did not endorse Christianity. His name ain't Christ. So how the heck is he Christian?
Wow. Oops.
You know what I mean? It's like, think about it. But to do that, oh, you're against, you're. All right. If I got to eat that in order to get the truth into you, I'll eat that so I can hang out with you. And then when you ask me questions about your Bible and mine, these little nuggets can be left, and you can start chewing on them yourself and seeing for your fact, well, he didn't do that. Right, exactly. So what are we doing? Right, exactly. Eat the soup, huh? Eat the soup. Waiter. Eat the soup. What? Something wrong with the soup? The soup too cold? What? Eat the soup. What's wrong with the soup, man? I mean, is it cold? Is there something in the soup? Eat the soup. All right. Where's the spoon? Aha.
That part.
Some of y'all still don't get it, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll keep moving on.
It's an Eddie Murphy day for you.
I did do an Eddie Murphy early, didn't I? On Fufu, right? Yeah. Yeah. But you get the point. So we ended up veering into, marriage because of the way Saraya submitted her ideal to her husband, though the idea was, they were a very good example to us of the fact that though we have a good idea does not make it the right idea. And it was a great idea by Saraya to think, hey, Avraham, I'm with you. I see you serious about this. And you know what? Do y'all realize that she realized that Avram was so serious about it? If she could have put her body in harm's way to bring a child in this earth, in this world for him, she was willing to sacrifice that for him, for them. And when she realized she couldn't do it, she believed in it so much, she put someone else's life at stake. Think about that. Nobody? Nothing? She believed in her authority through this man and his conviction and belief in his faith. That she was willing to put herself through the life-altering affair of childbearing. And when she realized she couldn't do it herself, she still believed in it so much that she actually put someone else's life up to bring it to pass.
That's deep. She was in full support of him.
She was in full support of the vision she knew he got from the God that told him to leave Ur. And they've been living in tents and teepees since and have not lacked anything. And she's still the queen. Or she following Buddy because he's following the instructions of his creator. Think about that.
That's deep. Very deep.
Well, y'all, it's been a joy and a pleasure talking to y'all. I see that y'all y'all there. I'm gonna go ahead and rest up, chill out, think about tomorrow's message and sermon for you guys, and we'll be having a conversation. I already have it, just gonna rehash some steps. And Wanda, no, she believed it for them, not him, because he had already proven he was all about them. And his being all about them was based on following Elohim. Elohim made him successful for them, and them was to demonstrate Elohim in the earth. And that's where she was. She believed it for them, that it came from Elohim. That's the difference. And it's very difficult to find a woman today, in the way you termed it, to believe in him, because him is not going before Elohim with her. And until him, the husband, starts going in prayer with her in tow, and they hearing what Elohim's saying, and then him speaking it. Because here's a twist. Just because, brothers, you are in Sabbath with your wife, in study with your wife, in prayer with your wife, realizing we are heirs together of the grace of life, and so our prayers are not hindered, until you actually speak it, it still don't get done. You know, a lot of you don't understand that when you hear me harp about being in a voice activated kingdom, you know, Elohim can give you a word that can change your life, but until you speak that word in your atmosphere, the atmosphere does not get ignited with that creativity. It can't just sit in your mind. I know in my mind what God gonna do for me. You can't tell me nothing. It's in my mind. I know what God told me, but did you say it yet? I ain't got to say it. Who is you, Mr. Apostle Man? I ain't got to say nothing because you say talk. That's what I'm talking about. I don't listen to no man. I listen to God. I got the spirit in me. I listen to the spirit in me. Well, the spirit in you is drawing the word out of you. He ain't trying to keep it in you. You put it in you so he can draw it out of you when your atmosphere needs creative flow. I know what God said to me. It's in my head. I ain't got to tell you. You ain't got to tell. I don't have to be telling me. And bro, I know God. I know God, bro. I'm God too. Inside of me, I'm a little God too. I got all. I want to say God damn you, but I won't. Just go sit down over there, Mr. God and Lady God. God. Sing a song off cue or something. Y'all don't like when I have fun with Christians? Okay. Just one person. Crickets for life. Crickets unlimited. Crickets galore. There was another crickets, I forgot it. But we're going to have crickets for sure.
That's it right there. That was it. But we going to have crickets for sure.
Crickets for sure. All righty. Father, we thank you for the day, time, and space. Thank you for the opportunity to share, I pray, your word in a clarity way, though many might argue and say that it is a subjective vein. I ask for you and your word alone to bring truth to the minds and the hearts of your people. We are not anti-Semitic. We are not homophobic. We are not anti-Christianity. We're not anti-church. We're just pro your word. What your word says is what we should be doing. If we're not doing it, then by your words, we are workers of iniquity. We don't need that in our lives. So I ask you to grace us with the wisdoms of you. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, teach us, speak to us as we rest more in you. Now that Shabbat is over, we got another 7 days before we come sit with you like this again. I can't wait. Help me get through this week of 6 days so I can come back and rest with you in 7. Remind me of things that were seemingly ancillary in this conversation, that I might be able to understand you and embrace you in greater ways. This we pray in the matchless name of Yeshua HaMashiach. And we all say,
Amen.
Amen. Well, we speak Shabbat Shalom to each and every one of you.
Amen. Amen.
May Yahweh bless you and keep you is my earnest prayer. And until we get a chance to speak again, we'll see you on tomorrow during the broadcast. We love you guys to life eternal. Have a great, awesome, mighty day. Remember, you live in a voice-activated kingdom. And there's no way around that unless you don't speak. But speak what he says and watch your life change. Apostle V.W. Jones signing out. Shalom Aleichem.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.